Hi there, welcome back to this series on React.js. In this video, we will be talking about state. And before we look at what states are and how to implement states, let's look at the summary of what we've discussed so far. So far we've talked about concepts like JSX, and we said JSX is used to define the UI template. And also we talked about component, and components are self-defined units that contains UI template and UI logic, and they may have props and state. And also we talked about props, and props in summary are used to pass data to component. Now let's look at what states are. Now states are more like props, but they are maintained internally by the component. States are used to store and keep track of data changes. So if you're looking at changing the data that pertains to a component, whether an action or an event occurs, then that component should maintain a state. So we can say that prop values should not be changed, but state values can be changed internally. So state properties of variables usually have an initial value, then the value can be changed over time. For example, we have a button component that can have the following state. So it's active, which can have maybe initial value of true. Then as event occurs or action occurs, we can change the value to false or true, as the case may be. We can also have state property of variable color, and we can have initial value of maybe red, and event occurs, action occurs, we can change the value for blue. A typical example would be the case of a button toggle, where we toggle the color as user clicks on that button. Now, real world example or real life example would be a television set. So we all have television sets. Now, television set would want to keep track of various states. For example, we have a status, which will indicate whether the TV is turned on or turned off. So the possible values we're looking at will be on or off. We also have current channel and previous channel. So current channel would keep track of the current channel the viewer is currently looking at or seeing. So the current channel can be 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, or otherwise. The previous channel would, in this case, would be the previous channel the user viewed previously. So if the user was previously looking at channel 5, then probably change the channel to 6. And we also have alt channel. So alt channel would usually toggle between the current channel and the previous channel as the user clicks on that button. So this is just one in a million examples where states can be used. So to illustrate this, let's go into Visual Studio Code and let's look at how to work with states. So right here I have Visual Studio Code opened, and we have the Learn React application from our last video. So right there, I'm going to click on the plus icon for new file to create a new file, and let's name this example underscore states.html. So the next thing we'll do right now is we're going to be including the HTML structural tags. So what I'm going to do right there is I'm going to go back to example underscore component underscore prop and control highlight there, control C the entire HTML, and go back to example underscore states.html, and I'm going to have Control V to paste the entire HTML right there. Scroll the way up to the very top there, and just within the head tag, I'm going to get rid of the style tag, and within the title tag, let's rename this to Learning React States. Now let's scroll the way down to the very last script tag, and right in there I'm going to take out reference to the fancy button, the parent temp, and React DOM.render, and just below the root ELE, which of course is a constant that has a reference to our div element with ID root within the body tag. Alright, so below the root ELE, I'm going to create a component. So let's have the function keyword, and let's have a component's name. I'm going to call this TV set. Name this TV set. This TV set is going to have state. And before you go ahead creating your component, it's ideal that you have a concept, or you have an idea of what your component is and what state it will maintain. So ideally for a TV set, looking at a TV set from a real world example, a TV set would have different states like status, it's on, it's off, or the current channel, which would hold the current channel, the previous channel, which in this case might or will rather hold the previous state. And of course, we can have other states too. To keep it simple, we're going to have the current channel state, we're going to have the previous channel state. So let's look at how to create our very first state. So within the TV set, I'm going to define the variables where I'm going to have the constant keyword, and let's have the square brackets. So within these square brackets, I'm going to define two items. So the very first item, or the very first constant I'll define there, it's going to be current channel. The next constant we'll define would be set current channel. Just outside the closing square bracket, let's assign this to React. So React dot use state. And what I'm going to do right there is I'm going to pass in a value. So use state expect an initial state. So I'm going to pass in the value of 1 right there. Now, what we're doing right here is we have the React class. React class is part of the library reference included at the very top there, and it has the use state method that allows you pass in or define the state. Now the use state method returns an array of 2 items. So what we're doing right here, where we have the square brackets and the 2 constants, we are destructing the array returned by use state. So what that means is for every item in that array, let's assign that item to a variable. So since this returns 2 items, we define 2 variables. So it's going to assign the very first variable, which apparently is the state. The state with the value 1. We're assigning that to the current state variable. The second variable, which is a function that will be used to mutate or change the state of the current channel, which apparently is the name of our state at this point. We're storing that in set current channel. So we have our state, and we also have a function that will be used to change the current channel, which apparently is a state. Below the very first state, let's define the different states. So I'm going to have the constant keyword, and let's have square brackets. On the very first parameter I'm going to have there is going to be previous channel, and let's have a comma right there, and I'm going to have set previous channel, and I'm going to assign React. So let's have React the use state, and I'm going to pass in a value right there. So of course you can pass in any value you like here. You can pass in integers, numbers, you can pass in strings, you can pass in boolean, you can pass in floats. But for example, we are concerned more about numbers. So this also is going to return an array of 2 items, a state with the initial value 1, and also a function. So our state will be stored in the previous channel with a value of 1, and we have a function set previous channel that we can use to change this state. So what it means is if I want to change the state, you can directly change the state. So I can have something like this, previous equal to 1. This will work. Now to change the previous state or the current state, so the previous channel or the current channel, we need to use the method. So I can have set current channel, and right in there we can pass in the value. So by passing 2, this will change the value of the current state. If I pass in 4, that will change the value of the current channel state. And likewise for previous channel, I can also have set previous channel, and I can pass in a value 1, 2, 3, 5 otherwise, and that would also change the previous channel state. So of course you can name this whatever you like. So the names and conventions are actually up to you, but it's ideal that when you name your mutators, functions, or your functions that will be used to change the state, you start with a set and you can follow by the state name. Alright, so the next one we'll do right there is we're going to return the screen. So usually a TV set would have a screen, a TV screen that displays the current channel. So let's do that quickly. So I'm going to have the return statement on the bracket. And within the bracket, let's have a div. Let's close that div right there. And right within that div, what I'm going to do right there is I'm going to have a p tag. Let's have a p tag, and within the p tag, let's have current channel column. Then within there, I'm going to have my curly brackets, and I'm going to make reference to my current channel state. So right there, I'm going to have current channel state. So what it means is when this is displayed, we're going to have current channel, and of course the current channel, either it's 1, 2, or otherwise. So the next one we'll do right there is let's add a root component. So I'm going to have a function, and I'm going to have app. So just outside the TV set component, let's define a different component. So this component is going to be our parent component. So what it means is it's going to hold every other component. So right in there, I'm going to return, and let's have a bracket, and just within the bracket, you can have a div right there. And right within that div, I'm going to make reference to the TV set component. So let's have angular bracket TV set and our /. Alright, so the next one we'll do right there is we're going to render this to the browser. So we're going to be using of course the React DOM class, then dot make call to the render function. The very first value we're going to have there is going to be the component. So in this case, our root component, which is app. So angular bracket, then your /, and let's have a comma. Then let's make reference to our root div, which of course is contained in the root ELE constant. I'm going to save this right now. Let's look at what we have so far. So I'm going to right click and click on open with live server. Let's see what we have so far. So right here I have the output, and as you can see right here we have the current channel set to 1. Because this value we have here 1 is our current channel state, because the state is maintained by our TV set. So the goal for us is we want to be able to change this value. So, and we want a user to be able to change this value based on interaction. So typically a TV set will probably have controls to change the channels, controls to increase the volume, and some other few controls. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a simple remote control component that has numbers 1 through 9. The users can enter a single channel at a time, and also we're also going to include previous and next button to navigate one step a channel above or one step a channel below. And we'll also include an alt button to alternate between previous channel and the current channel. Let's look at how we can do this. Alright, so let's create a remote control component. So just below the TV set component, I'm going to have the function keyword, and let's have remote control. And what we're going to do right there is we're going to be displaying the buttons 1 to 9, and also we're going to have buttons next and previous, and also have a button for alt channel to alternate between previous channel and the current channel. So let's do that. So let's create a variable. So I'm going to have that variable constant, and let's call this keypath. So keypath, and let's have an array. So I'm going to assign an array to a constant, and let's have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have all that comma separated. So we're assuming that our remote is only going to take one input at a time, not multiple inputs. So we can have 10, 11, 12. Just to keep this very simple, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. Alright, so just below that, so the next thing we'll do right there is let's render out these keypads as buttons. So I'm going to have a return keyword. We'll have my parentheses or brackets. Within the bracket, let's have a div element. So we're going to have a div element. Let's close that div element. And within the div element, I'm going to make reference to our keypads. So of course we can have a loop through each of the number and render the button, or rather we can use the map function, which is commonly used. So let's look at how that works. So I'm going to have my curly bracket and let's have the keypad. So keypad dot, we're going to use the map function. The map function right here, you can specify the index. So the index would be the position of each element in the array. So the very first one is 0 all the way to 9, which of course is 8. And also, so you can specify the index and the variable that would hold each of the items. So for in this case, what we're doing right there is we're specifying just the variable. So I'm going to name this keypad. So of course you can name this whatever you like. So just within the bracket, let's have keypad. So keypad, then we're going to use an arrow function right there. So I have my equal to and greater than symbol, and I'm going to render out a button. So let's have a button. So a button opening tag, and let's close that tag right there. Now just in between the opening tag, closing tag of the button, let's make reference to keypad. So what we're doing right there is we're saying for each item in that array, it's going to store each item in the keypad variable, and right there we have access to keypad. Also, when using map functions or when looking through arrays in React, you should always give your components, each item in that array, the key attributes. So you give that a key attribute. Now this is going to help React manage your array items better and distinguish between items in that array. So we're going to give it a key, and that key would be, let's use the same value. So let's have our curly bracket, and we're going to use the same value, which is keypad, since this is unique for each item in that list. Now, the next one we'll do right there is let's add our buttons. We'll add the next and previous button. So below the reference to the keypad, let's have the button just right in between the button. I'm going to have next, and let's copy that, paste that below, and I'm going to have previous, and finally let's have alt. So below the previous, I'm going to have alt. So let's see what I have so far. So I'm going to go to my browser, but before we do that, of course we need to make reference to remote control. So I'm going to add a reference to remote control just within the TV set. So this is my return statement. So just within the div below the p tag, I'm going to have reference to remote control. So let's have less than, greater than symbol, / and let's have remote control. So save this now and go to my browser, and you can see I have the buttons 1 to 9. I also have next, previous, alt. So of course you might want to arrange these buttons in a grid fashion. So I can have 1, 2, 3 on one row, 4, 5, 6 on one row, 7, 8, 9 on one row, next period, alt on one row. So I'm going to leave that as homework for you, but to keep it simple, we're going to ignore that for now. So back right here in example underscore state, what I'm going to do right there is I want to make this button functional. So if you notice, if you observe when you click on these buttons, nothing happens, but we want this to be functional. So how do we do that? So let's see. Back to TV set, and what we could do right there is we can work with what they call events. So events are actions or events that are caused. So for example, when a user clicks on the button, let's do something. So we have events like on click, on mouse up or mouse down, on focus. These are all events. So for our case, we're going to be using the on click event. So let's look at how that works. So this is remote control, right? So, and I have set current channel and set previous channel. So of course I can pass set current channel directly into remote control, and remote control can actually use that to change current channel based on users input. So in this case, based on whatever button was clicked, we can call either set current channel or set previous channel. But what we write there is, let's create a function. So within the TV set component, just below the second constant, let's have a function right there. Function right there, and I'm going to call this. I'm going to have this function next channel. So next channel. So just within next channel. So what next channel is going to do is, okay, so the current channel currently is set to 1. So once I click on next channel, it goes to 2. Click on 2, it goes to 3. Click on 4, it goes to. So it goes that way. So let's see. But once we get to 9, we want to start the process again from 0 all the way. So it means once the user gets to 9 and they click on next channel again, let's recycle that process. And also, as we go to the next channel, we also want to keep track of the previous channel. So the user is currently at 1, the user clicks the next button, so we want to go to channel 2, and previous channel should be set to 1. User clicks on next button again, we want to go to channel 3, but we want to maintain the previous state, which apparently would be channel 2. So the very first thing we should do basically is do that. So so once I hit next channel, let's first of all maintain the previous channel. So we can use the set previous channel, and right in there we can pass in the current channel. So set previous channel, I'm going to pass in current channel right there. So of course, what this will do is this will set the previous channel state to whatever the current channel is at that point. So next thing we want to write there is we want to change the current channel. So the current channel should be 1 step. So 1 step above, but with the exception that once we get to 9, let's recycle the process from 0. So let's look at that. So what we'll do right there is, since we have that exception, we're going to check first. So we're going to check the current channel. So the current channel, if the current channel is equal to 9, then let's recycle the current channel. So within the if statement, I can have set current channel. So this is used to change the current channel. So I'm going to have set current channel. So of course, if you also notice, you see that I'm using brackets here because set current channel and set previous channel are methods. They're methods. When I say methods, they perform an action and they're used to change states. So set current channel, and right in there we're going to have current channel plus 1, right? So we're going to have an else block. So else, what it means is current channel is less than 9. So in this case, we have set current channel. Okay, so we made a mistake. So set current channel should be 0, right? Not current channel plus 1. So we'll have to write there. Else set current channel should be current channel plus 1, right? So if current channel is equal to 9, then let's have set current channel to be 0. Otherwise, let's have set current channel to be current channel plus 1. Let's also create a function that will handle clicks for previous channel. Right below the next channel, we'll have a function. Let's have this as pre-channel. So I don't want to name this previous channel so it doesn't conflict with our state variable or constant previous channel. So let's talk about pre-channel and just write in there. We're going to do the same thing we've done on the right top there with next channel, but this will be the reverse. So very first we'll do is let's set the previous channel. Previous channel will be set to the current channel, and we can have if. So the if check. So if the current channel is equal to 0, let's cycle back. So we're going to have the set current channel to be 9. So the user clicks on the previous button and we're currently at 0. Let's start from 9. So we'll have 9. So else, what it means is the current channel is above 0, so we can have set current channel, and we have current channel -1. Also, let's also have a function that would handle changing a channel. So when the user clicks on any of the button, either 1, 2, 3, want to change that value based on the button the user presses. So let's have a function. So function, we'll have this as change channel, and this is going to take in the channel number. So let's have channel number, and just within our function, so let's of course change the previous channel. Previous channel will be set to the current channel state, and below that we can have set current channel, and we're going to pass in the channel number that was passed into our function. So our function has a parameter channel number. Now the last thing we'll do right here is we're going to also create a function. Now this function is going to be our alt channel, and what this will do is alternate between two states, previous channel and current channel. So let's have set previous channel, and we're going to pass in right there the current channel. So let's have the current channel, and let's also have set current channel, and right there we're going to pass in previous channel. So make sure you reference the state, which is previous, fully spelled. And I'm going to save this. I'll scroll the way down to remote control. Now remote control is going to take in a prop, and let's have fn. So fn is our prop, and I'm going to have my curly brackets right in there. The prop I'm going to pass in will be an object, so I'm going to have my curly bracket in there, and let's have the very first prop there. So let's have the key. So the key would be next column, and I'm going to pass in the function next channel. So comma, let's also have previous. So on pre, so I'll just have that as pre, and I'm going to pass in the function name without the parentheses, pre-channel. Then also we're also going to have alt. So alt, that's my key column, and I'm going to pass in the function alt channel. Okay, we also have change channel, so let's also have that. So comma, I'm going to have that as change. So the key is going to be change, and column, I'm going to have change channel. Now let's scroll down to remote control, and let's add props. Now since we're passing in the prop, we're passing in the prop fn, so it means remote control expects the prop attributes fn. So right here I'm going to define a parameter called props, and we can use the props attributes right here within this component. Alright, so let's add an event handler to handle clicks for our keypad. So just right here in the opening tag of my button, I'm going to add an onClick attribute. Now in React, we're going to use onClick, all small letters. We will use camel case, so onClick would be on capital C, and onClick equal to, we're going to have an arrow function. So make sure this is an arrow. So I have my parentheses, then let's have equal to symbol and the greater than symbol. Right in there you can have props dot fn, that's the attributes, the prop attributes. Then dot, we have change, and this takes in as argument the value. So I'm going to pass in key pad. So change is a function, and change is a variable that stores or holds the function change channel. And we check change channel, and right top there it expects channel number, so we're passing in the keypad right there. So we'll do the same for button. The next button I'm going to have on click, and let's have the equal to symbol, then let's have a curly bracket, and right in there I'm going to have an arrow function as well too. So parentheses equal to and greater than symbol, and right in there I'm going to have props.fn dot next. It's a function as well too. So you can see right there we have next, and next holds a reference to a function next channel. So let's do the same for previous. So for previous I'm going to have on click equal to, okay, let's have a curly bracket, narrow function. Right in there we can have props.fn dot pre, that's a function as well too, and that we defined here as well too. So that's pre holding a reference to the pre channel. And finally we have alt, so I'm also going to have on click, and that will be equal to curly bracket, arrow function, and props.fn dot alt function. Now let's save this and let's look at this in our browser. So I'm going to switch back to my browser. So right in my browser you can see the current channel is set to 1. So if I click on any of the numbers right there, it changes the current channel. And also if I click on next, that's 7, that's 8, it works fine. 9. I click on next, cycles that and starts from 0 all the way. Likewise, if I click on the previous button, it goes to previous channel, and that goes continuously. Now let's do this. So I'm going to click on, so 1 is the current channel. So I click on 9, 1 should be the previous channel. So in my alt between that, you can see it's alt alternates between 1 and 9. So let's try a different one. So that's 3 and 6. So my alt is alt between 3 and 6. So this is all fine. So before we call it a day with this tutorial, you can actually exploit, or rather examine your components and look at what components are maintaining what states and what props, what components require and otherwise. Now to do that, what you can do is click on the 3 dot icon at the extreme right there, click on it, click on more tools, and let's go to developers tools. And once you've done that, click on the components tab, and just under the components tab you can see we have the component hierarchy. We have the app component is the root. We also have the TV set component and the remote control component. So the app component, you can see it has no entry for props. The TV set has no props as well too, but has 2 states. So the very first state, you can see internally it's maintainer state. So we have 3, we also have 7. So of course 3 would be the current channel and 7 would be the previous channel. So of course you can see if I change the value right here, you can see that it affects what I have right there. Likewise, if I click on next and previous or alt, you can see it changes the value right here. And we also have remote. Remote has props, so it has a prop value fn. Fn takes an object. We have keys like alt, change, and otherwise. So you can examine your components by coming to this window. We come to the end of this video, and I hope that you learned something about states. So on your own, explore some more examples. The next video, we're talking about React hooks. Please stay tuned.